for that. Now we move on to the 428th District Judge. We begin with Mr. Scott Courtney. The same question goes to you. What would be your number one priority, and what qualifies you for the post?
Well, first off, good evening. I'm Scott Courtney. I'm running for the 428th District Court. Well, my first priority there would be several, but primarily it would be to improve the district courts, to return accountability, productivity, and generally high level academics to the court. And in doing that, hopefully remove the political aspect that is creeping into the district courts. As far as accountability and productivity, Judge Henry has disposed of in the last 2 years 1,600 of the over 7,000 cases that have been disposed of in the district courts. That's 23%. Yet he's the only full-time district judge that we have here in Hays County. As far as my background, again, Judge Henry has attacked my background several times. It's a background that's in law, 16 years as a practicing attorney, 6 of those here in Hays County, over 125 trials, appearing in front of over 170 different judges, 6 of those here in Hays County. I've appeared in over 50 different Texas counties, appeared in federal courts in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. I'm board certified in criminal law, which Judge Henry has not taken the time to get board certified in any particular aspect of the law. So I think my experience is vast, and I would like to bring that experience to Hays County to make the district court function at a level that will anticipate the growth. There must be better productivity in the courts because there's a growing backlog, and if we don't get a grip on that backlog now, it will continue to grow and continue to grow until the courts are overburdened. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Courtney. Now to Judge Bill Henry, the same question to you. Your number one priority and what qualifies you for the post?
Thank you. I appreciate everyone being out here tonight. I want to thank KDRP and Belterra for putting this together. I bring 22 years of experience as a lawyer and as a judge dealing with exactly the kind of cases that come in front of this court. Families in crises, individuals in crises, businesses in crises. My opponent on his last 2 law firm websites says that he only does criminal defense work. The majority of our cases are civil cases, and I bring that experience. On the criminal side, I've been a prosecutor. I believe in harsh sentences for violent criminals. I also believe in fair trial and how to balance that. I've been endorsed by law enforcement in this community, by the Fraternal Order of Police and the Hays County Law Enforcement Association. As to the number of contested cases, what Mr. Courtney doesn't realize is that is 1,600 contested cases. I have resolved thousands of more. And the reason he doesn't know that is because he admittedly spends about 65% of his time in counties other than Hays County. My number one priority is our community, to make it a better place. And I do respectfully disagree with my opponent that his academics outweigh mine. What he points to is a book called Student Body of Law, How Old is Old Enough, with 2 ladies on the front holding beer. I respectfully disagree that that is an academic exercise. I ask for your support. I ask for your vote, and I look forward to visiting with y'all after this debate and answering any questions that you have. Thank you.
Judge Henry, thank you. Moving on now to question number 2. We're going to be talking about overcrowding in correctional facilities. It seems like that is a constant problem in many areas of our country, but here in Hays County, prisons and correctional facilities, the overcrowding. If elected, what are your ideas, first, Mr. Updegrove, for making improvements in this area?
Okay. Growth of the county and tough economic times contribute to the overcrowding at our jail. The county court at law deals only with the local jail. None of the people that go through the county court at law or are sentenced by a county court at law judge are going to prison for the crimes that they committed that we have jurisdiction over. So ours is limited to Hayes County and to the jail here. There are several ways to reduce the overcrowding in our jail. There are two groups of people in our jail that the court has responsibility over. The first one is those waiting to be bonded out, and the others are those serving time on sentences. To correct the first, the court may increase the use of PR bonds for nonviolent offenders and those that have close ties to the community, or increase the frequency in the use of jail dockets to resolve the cases earlier, or add the specialty courts to resolve that as well. To correct the second, we need to stress responsibility, rehabilitation for those nonviolent criminals and the first-time offenders. Many of the offenders that are sitting there waiting in jail, serving a sentence, don't have the respect for the court, don't have respect for others. It should be a priority for the court to make sure that the offenders have a restitution, that they have a deterrence, that they be held accountable for their actions, and that would help.
Thank you, Mr. Updegrove. Now the same question about prison overcrowding goes to Judge Boling.
Mr. Updegrove is right. Any cases that come through county court of law, the maximum term is about a year. Well, it is a year in Hayes County Jail. Sorry, this is focusing just on Hayes County Jail. And we've already started making improvements and have been historically. I think this is what I love about working in county court of law, is that we do keep up. We're very much in touch with the jail. We check the jail lists weekly. The jail knows that they can call us anytime that they feel that they're reaching capacity, and we will take a look at the lists of people that are there, look at possible PR bonds, look at, right now we have one day a week on Thursday afternoons, we have a jail docket. We have between 5 people and 20 some odd people that we have brought over from the jail to try to take care of their cases in order to help with the overcrowding. We up that docket up to 2 and 3 times a week if necessary. All the jail has to do is call us, so we already do that. We can go to the jail, of course, and magistrate people, and if we're called upon after hours or on weekends. And then we also are readily available to have bond reduction hearings if requested. We seek rehabilitation options over jail options. So in county court at law especially, it's very appropriate because we deal with misdemeanors. Most of our folks really don't go to jail. They try probation first. There are more opportunities with misdemeanors for PR bonds, and we're looking into other options, like, as Mr. Updegrove said, specialty courts like drug or alcohol DWI courts, or pretrial services. So I'm very proud of working with the jail and with all the agencies involved with prisoners to help alleviate the problem.
Thank you, Judge Boling. Now the same issue of prison overcrowding goes to Dr. Bert Cobb.
Thank you. Excuse my voice tonight. Hayes County is one of the fastest growing counties in the United States. Some say it will double in the next 10 to 15 years, and not all those people who come to our county are going to be law-abiding citizens. The sheriff is in charge of the jail. He's a chief administrative officer. And what the county judge does is plan for growth and pay for the jail. So there always has to be a funding issue involved with the court. I kind of like what the Chilean miners did. First, they appointed a proven leader. Then they evaluated what they had. Then they allocated their resources to meet their goal. That's exactly what a judge has to do. We have a lot of smart people in Hayes County. I plan to get the law enforcement people involved because they know that jail very well. I plan to get the citizens involved because they're going to pay for it. And I think by cooperative effort, we can plan to meet our needs.
Thank you, Dr. Cobb. Now to Commissioner Jeff Barton, the same issue of prison overcrowding.
Well, again, for a county judge, as Dr. Cobb said, Dr. Cobb and I run against each other. As he said, we're in a little different position. We're on the financing end of the jail, not the putting people in the jail business. And there are a number of things that we can do at the County Commissioners Court. As you heard him say, as you heard me say earlier, we are a fast-growing county. but all growth is not created equal. For example, there are a lot of studies out there that show that population growth correlates very closely with transportation congestion. Population growth doesn't have to correlate with jail population in the same way. In Hays County, if you look at where the growth's coming in, Belterra, for example, this isn't the kind of neighborhood that creates a whole lot of crime. We have a lot of retired people coming into our county. We have a lot of people with families. So we had outside architects telling us that, you know, we needed to go in and build a new jail of 800 to 1,000 beds. And what we did, what I recommended and what the Commissioners Court did is instead go back and look at really what's happening in our jail, who's going into our current jail, for how long and for why. And what we found out is that really the crime trends in Hays County look pretty good, and that we may not need 1,000 beds. In fact, we can right-size our jail and get by with many fewer beds. That matters to you for this reason. Instead of building a new 1,000-bed maximum security jail at $56,000 a bed, which is the going rate, we're going to build 96 beds. We're going to save $40 to $45 million by doing that, and about $10 million a year in operating costs. That will help pay for some of the programs that we ought to be doing, that Judge Boling and others have been referring to, like the drug rehab. You can do drug rehab and mental health beds for something like $26,000 a bed. They're a good investment. They're a good investment because they help repair people's lives. They're also a good financial investment because they're much cheaper for us to operate with lower recidivism rates. So I think there are a lot of things we can do by thinking outside the box.
Thank you, Commissioner Barton. Now the same question goes to Mr. Scott Courtney.
Well, I would start as a state district judge by following the TDCJ and legislative recommendations for alternate sanctions for nonviolent criminals to reduce jail overcrowding. They specifically put out those recommendations and how the state district judges should be following. I don't think they're being followed. Secondly, I'd look to ease the local jail crowding by instituting a little more technology in the pretrial release process for nonviolent offenders. That would ease the local jails population for those awaiting trial while on bond. Third, I'd actually give priority to those who are incarcerated and awaiting trial to reduce the average age of cases. All of these would go to reduce the three vital statistics that Hays County district courts fall into right now, which are civil and criminal clearance rates and age of cases as far as criminal cases are concerned, all of which fall in the bottom quarter of all Texas counties. An increased focus on that would bring those numbers more in line with the state averages. I would like to thank Judge Henry for my book plug. Appreciate it. It's a classic case of judging a book by its cover. If you're interested in it, I suggest you take a look at it. It will give you an excellent idea of what kind of person I am and what kind of judge I would be. I recommend it highly, as does all law enforcement that I've given it to review. They like it too. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Courtney. Now over to Judge Bill Henry.